Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. It is Friday morning, May 21st, 2021. Actually a pretty good week of short-term trading. Swing trading, we kind of dialed back a little bit. The volume hasn't really been what we wanted to see. Breakouts really haven't followed through, but we've actually had some really good day trading opportunities. It's been a pretty good week to be buying stocks as a day trader, but you've really had to be patient. It's really been a week where it's going to kind of have or have nots, where we've had this massive volatility and you needed to take advantage of that opportunity immediately and then go have coffee maybe for like 90 minutes. And then after the market woke up back up again, you make sure that you're in the right stocks. And if you're day trading stocks right now, one of the biggest things to be conscious of is cutting your list down. It's a tougher market right now to be running scanners and be trying to trade everything. What we're going to do today is we're going to go a little bit off script today, and we're going to go through Apple stock and whether or not you should be buying Apple stock. Is Apple stock a mature company right now and beyond its momentum trading days? Is it one of those blue chip stocks now that you just keep in your portfolio for a long time? Or is there a reason to get in there and have it in your list every day and be buying it and selling it and buying it and selling it as an active day trader? We are going to make a distinction today about the difference between being a trader versus being an investor, because they're not even the same universe. A lot of people think that they're kind of the same thing. No, 21 years later, my dad still thinks I'm a broker. He thinks I'm a stockbroker, and it's hard to explain what a trader is, but we're going to talk about that today. But we're also going to go through all of the stocks in the Dow. We're going to do kind of like a rapid fire, go through, should we buy this stock in the Dow, that stock in the Dow? Is it buy or sell or do nothing, don't bother? And a big part of that is whether or not you should be allocating capital. Something that really does not get spoken about enough, I don't think at all, quite honestly, is if you have a finite number of dollars to be putting into the market, which who doesn't, right? Everybody's got a finite number. Who wouldn't want more buying power if you know what you're doing? How do you allocate that? Is the situation that you're in right now, in the time frame that you're looking to trade, is it the right idea for now? So in other words, if you're going to put $100,000 to work on a stock, if you're going to put $10,000 to work on a stock, is that the best idea? And at what point is it a waste of tying up that capital when you could be looking at something else moving? And today we're going to talk about all the stocks in the Dow. We're going to steal an idea from Jim Cramer. We might not call it a lightning round, but we're definitely going to go through them, and we're going to say yes, no, buy, sell. But we're going to start out with Apple. So stick around. We're going to be right back. I'm pumped up today. I got coffee in me today. Go a little off script. It's only my first cup, and I'm pretty wide awake. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, please click down, give us a thumbs up, smash that like button. That would mean the world to me. It also tell me that these kinds of videos are what you enjoy watching. So also leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. This would be a really good interaction to develop a community, our social media community. And really on YouTube specifically, because this is really where people come to learn. And I'm hoping that we're providing enough value every day that you keep coming back. But first, before we get into the stocks in the Dow, we're actually going to hop right into what we start out with every day, which is our sector rotation. We're going to go into the SPY, and then we're going to go to Apple stock first, see if Apple stock is a buy, sell, do nothing, get it out of your portfolio. And then we're going to do a rundown through the other stocks. So quickly, we're going to go over to our sector rotation sheet. And if you watch the videos every day, you know that the breakdown a couple of days ago was just horrible. And now we've kind of perked up. The week has really woke up. And this is what I'm talking about as far as better trading opportunities. Now, what's deceiving is it looks like technology stocks are having a great week, but not really your grandfather or grandmother or even your uncle or aunt's tech stocks. It's a whole bunch of new things that are coming out, and you really need to be on top of which stocks are in play right now. SPAC stocks are kind of taking a hit right now. Communication services, Twitter, Facebook having a decent week. Consumer cyclical, Philip Morris and that kind of stuff actually having a good week. We've also been watching Target, Walmart, Costco having a good week, and healthcare. Real estate is kind of jumping up there, as we said, in reference to the talks about inflation. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to jump right into the individual stocks that we wanted to watch. But first, we're going to start out with the SPY. We had a huge line in the sand in the SPY that we had to test this week. This was also why the last couple of days we were kind of pulling back on whether or not we were initiating new swing trades. And if you can imagine, the market rolling over and hitting that line in the sand and just stopping right there. And you're like, oh no, are we heading down? And is it going to collapse? Or is this the greatest spot in the world to look for a new opportunity? And we've been talking about the major lines in the sand, and specifically in the SPY. We've been watching the 50-period moving average, and we've been watching volume, of course. But we had a really good key reversal 2 days ago on Wednesday. Thursday follow through. That was the big thing we're looking for. Will buyers step back in, give us reason to be looking to get long again? And you can see the market's kind of flat again this morning. Not the worst thing in the world, but we're still kind of stuck in this window. This is really where I don't know if I can explain this any better with my trading experience right now, because it comes from my own trading losses over the years. Money goes to die in trading ranges, and you need to understand that a potential change of trend is always easier to see after the fact. But if you gain experience, when you gain experience, you need to start to recognize when the overall picture is no longer giving you a bias where you say, wow, the smart money is really buying. I can't wait to join them. And then you look for spots to piggyback with them. But stocks reach a point, and this is important, in the time frame that you're trading, where it's no longer that bias, kind of like the momentum or the juice behind that move is kind of faded, and that edge is gone, and then you have to wait for a new one. And that's kind of what the SPY is doing. It's a big window. It's a wide window, but we're kind of like in that window right now where it's not rolling over, but the bullish momentum to the upside has changed. And remember, we talked about this yesterday, that you really need to dig in every single day, which is why I'm teaching you, for lack of a better way of putting it, we're friends, right? I'm just teaching you every day to get in there and see where money is flowing. And by far, the easiest way to reduce overwhelm in the market is to start out with sector rotation, because that's where the money's flowing. Smart money footprints can't hide. You got to go and find it. I'll post a video up here for how we do sector rotation. I think you'll find it kind of interesting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go right over to the charts. That's what we looked at in the SPY. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, everybody understands what that is, right? So we're just going to pop it up. Only 30 stocks, but you can see that it's actually been in a really good run, right? But here's what I want to point out. If you really strip away any of the what am I going to call them? Indices, indicators. Other than us popping out there for a couple of days, right here, and 2 days really, and then it just started to selling and come back in, we're pretty much in a trading range for well over a month. So stocks in the Dow aren't really doing that much. So we're going to go right into Apple, and we're going to look at Apple. I'm going to remove the volume here because we're really going to be focused on price action. So what is the deal with Apple? This is the deal with Apple. Apple, on a much bigger, wider picture, they need to come up with something new to get out of this right now. Now, again, we talked about whether or not you're a trader or you're an investor, and this is important. Making that distinction between trader and investor is huge. Investor is you're more buying the company, and you're looking for the long-term prospects of that company's free cash flow and the prospects of them generating more free cash flow. Now, Apple actually has a ton of cash. Nobody actually doubts that. I mean, who can? There's no argument against that. But you're buying tomorrow's cash flows, not the money they have saved, tomorrow's cash flows. And you're buying how they allocate that money. You're buying whether it's an investment in their own research and development and they come up with something, or are they buying other assets that will generate, similar to what the whole conversation about Tesla investing in Bitcoin, what other investments are paying off for them. But you really want to see, if you're going to invest in a company, you really want that company's cash flow to be what you're buying. Apple needs to come up with something new. But does that mean it's a sell? Depends. I know that's a crappy answer, but it depends on whether you're investing or if you're trading. And if you're a trader and you're looking to buy Apple stock, on what time frame are you trading that stock? And that's the key, because you need, once you know your objectives, you know how to overcome the obstacles on the way to that objective. Are you holding it for an hour? Are you holding it for 5 minutes? Are you holding it for 2 weeks? That's what we're going to take a look at in Apple stock right now. So obviously, in the little bit longer term picture right now, you can see the stock has not done anything in a meaningful trending way, other than maybe for a week or two. And even when it did, if we zoom that out, there's really only a few weeks where the stock was obvious, and we haven't had the type of price action where, it's probably not the best example, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, where a stock did something like this. Obviously, this is a whole different story that we've been talking about this week, where we talked about do traders bottom fish the stock, but this is really what we're looking for. We haven't seen any kind of well bid. Apple in the daily time frame has been maybe well bid for a week when they've had news heading into earnings, that kind of thing. Earnings came out, and the stock's been down since earnings. So what does that tell you? Earnings came out right around here, and the stock has been down since earnings. So what are investors, smart money, thinking about Apple stock right now? Well, it's in the middle of nowhere. Does that mean you can't, quote unquote, trade Apple stock? No, that means that you just drop to a different time frame and you find trends on different time frames, especially if you're a trader. This is the hourly chart where you can clearly see that we're marking off windows and pockets of opportunity. If we had to do this again right now, we'd be zooming in over here and we'd be saying, okay, get out of this box. And when you do get out of this box, that's when I'll get involved. You can actually drop it down even further as a day trader, and you can be finding hours of opportunity on the long and the short side to be trading the stock. So really, is Apple stock a buy or a sell right now? You need to make a decision. Are you an investor or are you a trader? If you're an investor, what's going on and how is the smart money, the deep pockets, interpreting the Apple earnings right now going forward? Well, earnings came out and the stock went down. That doesn't mean the stock is, oh my gosh, let's get out of the stock. It means that nothing is new. So you're going to kind of have that status quo in the stock right now, and you're probably not going to get the returns for owning that stock unless something changes, which gets back to what I said before. Could you allocate that finite trading account that we all have into something else? Or do you want to sit with that stock? And this is really the thought process that a lot of people have with Tesla stock right now as well. They love the company. They love the idea. They have first mover advantage. Elon Musk is very popular right now. But are you investing in the stock? Where are you going to get that return? And are you a trader in the stock? Me, I'm a trader. I like that 1 hour to 2 week window. 2 week windows have been kind of stressful to hang on to lately. But that's really the time frame that I'm in. So you really need to weigh right now, are you an investor or a trader in Apple stock? And if you're a trader, work those time frames. You'll find some opportunities. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back out to the daily chart, and we're going to go right through, very similar to what we just did in Apple. We're going to look at some opportunities in the Dow Jones. So Amgen, again, we're actually going to zoom out on the weekly chart because this is really where the higher time frame swing trade ideas come from. So right now we have alerts set for Amgen over 260. American Express has actually been good to us. Now you see two melted candles with a push down above what was our previous breakout level. I'm looking for Amgen over AXP over 157. Boeing has kind of been in the doghouse for a while, but what I do like about Boeing, again, not much to like about it, is the fact that we are starting on the weekly chart to make higher highs, higher lows. And now, again, like I just said before, now you would drop down as a trade and you would start to do this. So once you start to pay attention to the time frames you're trading, now on Boeing, if you like these kind of blue chip stocks, now you have a line in the sand that says, okay, this selling from the beginning of March is still valid until this stock gets back over 232. All right, working our way down. We're going to go now down to Caterpillar, very similar, but this recent breakout, this stock looks great. Again, if you work this chart, this is where it's been since last year. It did not have the doldrums that a lot of other stocks did and has not pulled back. We have kind of gone parabolic recently, and that means that we need to draw new lines. And you can see now the stock is kind of stuck. So right now, from a trading perspective, we're not seeing this. We're seeing this. We're seeing melted candles. Earnings came out. It was actually pretty good. Lower opening, rallied back up, but we're kind of stuck. So right now, from a trading perspective, not much to do in Caterpillar. Moving on to CRM, has been in a good, really good, solid downtrend since the conversation about purchasing Slack. Again, very similar. This, if we extend this out, we need this to get over 230. Cisco, actually good numbers as well. Cisco has rallied up and keeps pausing now between 50 and 54. Next level is 58. So the way I'd be looking at this is first piece above 54, next piece above 58. Don't tie up too much capital until it proves it can get to an area where it's worth taking the risk because the profit is worth it. Next, CVX energy stocks were really strong. You can see we traded these for about 5 weeks. That's what we're looking for as a trader. Now the profit potential has diminished. So even if it breaks above 112, up in this area between 120 and 128 is the upside unless things change. So now you have to decide how much am I willing to risk where the upside is capped. I do like them long if they catch a bid, but only for a trade. Disney has performed poorly since making new all-time highs over here, possibly a bottoming tail here, looking for it to reverse, but nothing. We want to see this. We want to see well bid. Dow, DOW, right? What's going on here? Well, we just hit new historical all-time highs, but we just formed a bearish U-turn. So we need to see this. We need to see well bid. Nothing going on there yet right now as a trader. Goldman Sachs now pausing. You can see that we actually had really good momentum for 3 weeks. Paused inside week. Next week, we're looking for a breakout. Nothing to do right now. Moving along. Home Depot on fire for about 5 weeks. Pulled back dramatically. What are we looking for now? We're looking for Home Depot to do this. So you see this price action here looks very similar to that, right? That's exactly what we're looking for. So right now we're looking for next week, because today's Friday, we're looking for this stock to go well bid, and then we're going to look for it to go well bid and hang on to that as it remains well bid. Honeywell is to change the stock symbol. You can take a look at that. So what's going on with Honeywell? A little bit different story here right now, right? In TradingView, for some reason, they didn't have the quote for Honeywell. You might have to take a look at that. But here's the deal with Honeywell. Still valid, right? We're actually at all-time highs or sniffing those all-time highs. But where's the trade? We're stuck between 220 and 230 right now. This is really where a situation comes in where if you're on my trading desk, back when I had my office in New York City, I'd be telling you right now, set alerts for this thing and don't waste your time. Let it get out of 220 to 230 area. Set an alert. Focus on other stocks moving, and then come back when that alert triggers, because now there's more reward potential to justify accepting the risk. That's a big deal. You need to set alerts. You need to get comfortable with setting alerts, and it needs to become a big part of what you do. All right, so that's where we are in Honeywell. IBM actually had really good earnings. You can see here we actually exploded. Since those earnings, we have 4 weeks of melted candles. Melted candles means indecision, open and close at the same spot. However, we are pausing here very nicely. And if we zoom out a little bit on the trend, we are now looking at this, which is actually still pretty healthy. Still pretty healthy. We finally get out of this trading range. I actually like it. I'm expecting IBM to follow through. Next week will be a stock that I'm going to be paying attention to. Intel keeps breaking out above the 66 level and failing. Actually, I had somebody in our swing trade program ask me about this yesterday. There's really nothing to do here. You can see how wide the window is. I get the question, oh, can you trade the channel? Sure, you can trade the channel, but is that the best idea? Buying support is not the same thing as buying order flow that's already moving in your favor. J&J, and we talked about healthcare stocks at the beginning of the call. The stock looks great. Well bid, closing near the highs with room to go. JP Morgan, similar to the stock of Goldman Sachs, where we actually had a nice push, a pause, a nice push, and now it's consolidating. I'm actually fully expecting them to take off again next week. Coke, really not much going on here. If we do break 55, then we're looking at 60. So again, $5 profit potential. Why 60? Because that's the last place sellers did something significant. If you're not going to use the pandemic high, then you have to use this, where it was stuck for weeks, which is right where it is now. So it's not a coincidence. This is a level. McDonald's continues to sniff all-time highs. Have that in your radar. 3M performed very well this year. Now you can see that we got to get through this noise somewhere around 220, and then we're looking at a run to 260. So we have a $20 move there, so that should be in your watch list. Moving along to Merck, absolutely nothing. Why would you allocate money to a stock that hasn't moved? That's what we're talking about, the ROI on the situation. Microsoft, actually not looking bad. If we draw this trend over here, you take the Bill Gates news out of the equation, we push down. This is a really good flag, and now we actually have 2 bottoming tails. So if we zoom out, let me go to the daily chart, probably an easier way to do it. Zooming out now, very similar to what we did in CRM. Stocks in a downtrend until we just broke it yesterday. So if we broke it yesterday, now we need to stay above 247. If we do, then we're looking at a long to fill the gap after earnings over here up to 260, working our way over to Nike. Nike actually good earnings, kind of consolidating. This is a really long flag. I don't really think there's anything to do until we get out of this. We got to get above 138 to 140. Good stock to trade, though, when it's active. P&G, really not much going on here. Look at all these melted candles, and you have pretty big resistance here. Travelers, actually, the world waking up, right? We're actually hitting new all-time highs. So I actually like this pause in front of 160. That one's really on my list. UNH has been on fire. We've been talking about this pretty much every week. Keep that in your watch list as well. Verizon, not really that much of a momentum stock. You can see it really doesn't move that dramatically. This is kind of what the stock normally does, so not really one of the stocks in my watch list. That's Visa. Visa, this is Verizon. And we can go to we can actually talk about this. not really moving as well as some of the other stocks over the last year, such as PayPal and Square, a little bit more Bitcoin related stocks. But now you can see for the last couple of weeks, it's been selling into a pause. I'm not doing anything until we get out of this window. So again, 220 to 230 window, have that window on your radar. Moving on over to Walgreen Boots Alliance. What I do like here, again, a push and a pause, a push and a pause, a push and a pause, which would make the next move up to 65, roughly a $10 move there. And we will finish up with Walmart, which is now finally above the 142 level that we've been watching. And that's today's rundown of whether or not we should be looking at stocks in the Dow, what levels, how to break them down, knowing whether you're a trader versus an investor. So are you buying Apple stock? Are you selling Apple stock? You need to know, are you an investor? Are you a trader? Investor, you got to think about what do they need to do in order to justify tying up that capital and keeping it there. Something new has to come out. If you're a trader, drop down. You'll find something on multiple time frames. If you're new to the channel, please do me a favor. Click down and subscribe. It would really mean a lot to me. Smash that thumbs up button. It would let me know that you like this kind of content. And to finish things up, have an awesome day of trading. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it more than you could possibly imagine for spending this time with me. And we have more good stuff coming. Have a great day trading and have an awesome weekend too.